Hello everyone, how are you? It's Miss Darling in the studio, and today we're going to have some fun doing some wooden bookmarks. Now, I purchased these bookmarks, I think in a set of 100 from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box, and I think they're just fantastic, and they're lightweight and a good size and shouldn't be all that difficult to design in many different ways. Of course, you don't have to buy them. You can you could make your own, let's say out of chipboard. And so let me give you the measurements of these. This is 1 1/4 inch wide by 4 about 4 3/4, roughly, a little less than 4 3/4. And of course they could be taller too. A lot of books are bigger, and they don't have to be as thick as these. These are almost 1/8 of an inch thick, but they're very nice and they're very inexpensive, so I just bought a bunch of them to play around with and thought I'd show you what I did. So the first two are these, and what I did with them, I had some transparent stickers that I also bought from Amazon, and so I picked some of the longer florals and I put this kind of a yellowish orange one on this one and a mauve reddish one on that side, and then I added a butterfly and a little tag and a piece of lace. And then on the back side, since this was a mauve flower on the front side, I wanted something in the red category on the back. I didn't add anything more to this because it really filled it up nicely. And to the yellowish one, I also had this beautiful yellowish rose, and I added a tag there with a bit of a postmark. And then just put some inexpensive jute ties on. I did then finish them off with Mod Podge on both sides, and there's about 3 coats. You don't have to do 3, but I would at least do 2 coats on each side. And if you do a lot of them at one time, by the time you get through putting Mod Podge on the first ones, they'll be dry. So then the second one that I did, I simply covered them with a beautiful napkin I had in my stash. And I had one with this red flowers on it, and then, oh no, wait a second, these are not, this was not done with napkins. This was done with the botanical set of Tim Holtz tissue papers, and I selected where I wanted the image to fall, and then I wrapped it around to the back so the image does, depending on which way you turn it, it does continue onto the back. And all you do is you take some Mod Podge or some other wet adhesive, and I put it on the bookmark itself, and then just flopped it down onto the back side of the tissue paper, and then cut off a piece large enough to wrap around, and worked with it. And then I finished it off covering it with some matte Mod Podge when I was all done, and added the jute tags. So that's how I did both of those. These are the two that were done using a colorful fall vintage napkin that I have in my stash, and they're from the same napkin, so they make a perfect set. And again, I just wrapped the paper around to the back. This one was a bit sparse, so I added a bit of fabric there. And this one I added a little bit of book page and a little rosebud and a tag with 1930 on it, and then covered them both on both sides with Mod Podge and added the jute. So very simple, very quick, easy to do. You just have to have the papers on hand. And I'm going to do a couple more for you in a minute, but I wanted to first talk about the clothespins that I also bought in quantity. And this is how they came, just the natural wood, and that was fine, but I wanted some that were darker or had some color on them. And so I just took one of, some of my ink pads. This one I think was a dark blue ink pad, and I just brushed the ink onto it, and you can see how it turned it nicely, and it has a vintage quality. This one I used a yellow, kind of a goldenrod ink pad to turn that kind of yellow. I had a reddish brown ink pad I used on this one, and then this one was just a little bit of black that I did kind of more of an ombre effect on that one. So, you can decorate them up. I did take and try out gluing a piece of paper onto this one and adding some numbers and stuff. I didn't like how it came out, and so it's a very small surface to try to decorate, but there are a multiple number of ways one can do other than just coloring them. And then I had also, a long time ago, I had purchased a bunch of these little tiny wooden paper clips, clothespins, which I thought I would use on my junk journals to, add a little tag or a little something to a page. I thought it would be cute. They are cute, and they do actually function, but it's questionable as whether it's really worth having or using them, because they don't have a very strong grip, and they come off very easily. So just a word of caution if you go down that route. Anyway, I wanted to show you those real quickly. And so now I thought I would play around just for a little while. And so I thought what we'd do today, I just received this Tim Holtz tissue paper. This is called Typeset, and I had ordered it last week and it just came today, and so I thought, I think looking at the way it's laid out, that this could make some really fantastic looking bookmarks. So let's give it a try. Now, the last time I used Mod Podge as my adhesive, and it gets kind of messy, and I'm not in the mood for messy right now, so I thought, well, let's see how we do with putting on a different type of adhesive. So we're going to try this wet glue, which does dry clear, but I think it's a little more controllable without getting yourself all messy. So I'll make sure I go well around where the hole is up here. And we'll see how this turns out. Might not turn out well at all, but we'll see. Let's see, do I want to wrap around? I think that would be kind of nice. So let's just drop this in here. And press down. And let's see, fold over that way. Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is crop this right about here. I think we'll go down there. Yep. Ew. That didn't do too good. I think I need a sharper blade. Okay, so let's see what it looks like on the other side. Well, that looks pretty cool. And see, our hole is up here. And okay, so I'm just going to wrap this around. This is a little different how I did this compared to the other one. I'm going to put a little bead of glue right down the edge there and come on around the bottom. And then I just tip it up and fold it over and down. That gives me a nice tight binding on the edge there. And now I'm ready to do the other side. I'll put a bead of glue down there. And do the same thing. Stand it up on its end and just fold it around. And there we go. Now I'm going to snip around the edge here. And the same up here. And I think you can see how with this type of a paper that every time you put one down, it's going to be in a slightly different position, and you're going to get a different looking bookmark every time. And then you just take an owl and, you know, open up your hole. Now this isn't fully glued down on the back side, but I intend to take some Mod Podge and go over it. And once I do that, the Mod Podge is going to seep through the paper and adhere it down nicely on the reverse side. We do have some overlap there, but I'm okay with that as long as we have a front side that, you know, looks pretty good, and I like the way this turned out. Now, one could leave it like it is here, or one could embellish it. And I think with this, I would probably put some black twine on it. What was I going to say? Oh, one could embellish it, say, with, I don't know, a butterfly of some kind. Find something that's a little on the smaller side. It's got a little red in it, but that's okay. But, you know, you could just add, you know, something like that to give it some pop. Just, you know, real simple. So I encourage you, this is a great way to use up napkins. Just be sure and take all the plies off. I think most napkins come 3-ply, so there's going to be 2 layers of white paper on the back of it that you have to remove and get down to just the one single ply, or you're not going to get good adhesion. And and then have fun, you know, decorating them up. You could put, you know, little fussy cut imagery on it. You could put some beads on it. You could, I mean, there's just a myriad of things you could do. So I just wanted to show that real quick to finish up this video and give you some ideas of how to make bookmarks to include in your junk journals, or to give away as little gifts, or to, you know, you could use it as a part of the dangle that you put on the spine at the back of a journal. There's many different uses for them. Whether you use the wooden ones or not is up to you. Anyway, I had some fun doing this. It's quick, it's simple, and I hope you'll play around with them and see what kind of great creations you can come up with that are each one of a kind, original art coming straight from you to either use yourself or to give away or to sell. So I thought I would use up some of the scraps of this Tim Holtz tissue paper that I used to do these 3 bookmarks, and I would use the scraps to kind of funk up these clothespins that I have, that I colored a little bit with ink. And so just for the fun, thought we'd see how it comes out on these smaller surfaces. Not a whole lot of room to work with. I'm not using a blade because that seemed to just tear the tissue paper. I don't know if it's, you know, happens no matter what blade you have on, or whether my blade is a bit on the dull side. I'm sure it is a bit dull by now. I've used it for some while without changing it. But I'm just trying to snip off the excess with scissors. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Looks pretty grungy. And what have I got on the back here? Anything usable? I've got this up here. Maybe I could splice a little of that. I could put that on for sure. Okay. So I'll just add a little Mod Podge up here. And then turn it over. And line it up as best I can. Smooth it out. There's this little indented area here. And then trim off the excess. And I think we'll wind up with a unique little grungy clothespin that could go on a journal to hold something in place, like, you know, a letter, an envelope, or, you know, something that you don't have a mind to glue down into the journal. But you're just going to attach it so that it can be removed. These clothespins, I think, are a really good idea for that purpose. I'll fool with that later, okay? But just for now, so we have this, and then this is the other side, and I think I would, you know, put something of interest down there. Maybe just rip off a thin section here. And plop it down. Go over it with the Mod Podge. I don't know why I can't say that correctly. I think it's some of my previous videos I was saying Mod Podge. So, grungy looking clothespins. Here's one I just put a big large #1 on it, and the flip side has this, and I'm gonna put, you know, 2-3 coats of Mod Podge on those before they'll be finished. So it's just a way to, you know, I just hate throwing stuff away that has something usable on it. And so these were, you know, leftovers from the bookmarks, and now they have a purpose. So I have one coat on one side done, and I just put this on a sheet of wax paper. Somehow I got something else stuck there, and so I'm going to do the flip side now. What was the... So yeah, just, you know, have fun, try different things, and I think it's nice to gang make stuff, you know, do it in mass, so you can, you know, act like a factory and make a whole bunch at one time. And then if you have an Etsy shop, put them up for sale, or use them as gifts, or to embellish your journals. They're a nice little extra that they're fun to make, and gives you, you know, just something else that's different and original and easy to make to use in your journal. And don't worry, at first it's going to look like it's bubbling up. I had an overlap there. I guess that's what's going on there. So, you know, you just have to work with it and, you know, push it down and make sure the Mod Podge, you know, works its way through the porousness of the tissue paper so it adheres properly. All right. Yeah, fun. And this is what I ultimately wound up with. I added some red floral stickers onto the black that I did, and you saw those, and then these were the ones I started with, and these are the napkins. This is Tim Holtz botanical paper, and then this is just washi floral stickers put on top of the plain wooden bookmark. And there you have it. This is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.